is The Taste of Things from, again, 2023, directed by An Hung Tran, starring Juliette Binoche, Benoit Magimel, Emmanuel Salinger. Quick logline: the story of Eugene, an esteemed cook in Dodin, fine gourmet chef she has been working for over the last 20 years. So, similar to the Perfect Days movie, I knew about this movie. I'm a big food person. I love to cook. I think about food. If I'm not thinking about movies, pretty much, I would say equal proportions. So, this movie was kind of made for me, but I was so bummed that I just couldn't see it last year. And I finally watched it actually by myself on like a Thursday evening, just cooked something simple and just watched it, and was just overcome completely by this movie. And I'll obviously get into my thoughts with the movie, but yes, this movie is about cooking and the art of it and the technique and the work that goes into it, and how it can be a life's work. But I think what really sort of landed on me with this movie, in addition to that, is just love and life, and how food and taking care of one another through food and the joy we bring to each other is such an essential part of that. And, when the movie starts, I mean, the first 10 minutes of the movie is like this silent movie scene of just them preparing and cooking. And it's like an action sequence to me, like this is out of a Mission Impossible movie. So it's a set piece where all these things are happening. There's no dialogue, and you just are sitting at the edge of your seat, just watching and taking all this in while your mouth is salivating and you want to be there and you just totally take it in. But then as the movie progresses, it sort of reveals so much more about her relationship to this famous chef. And you think at one point that, oh, she's just the cook in the background, but then you see the love the two of them have with each other and power she holds in the relationship. But also, it's not been easy for these two to come together. What it says about cooking and putting your art in front of you as an exploration and an expression of yourself and who you love, as opposed to an expression of just pure show that you see with another character who's like a princely kind of rich person who shows up later. So it's making a lot of commentaries on sort of society as well. But to me, this movie is really about love and life. And this is what I felt this year, because I moved in with my partner. We got engaged. We also did like a court marriage thing a few weeks ago. So it was a big year for that. And I think just living together, cooking. I mean, I do most of the cooking. Let's just be honest about
Let's
that.
not. We don't need to call him out on this.
Yeah, I'm not showing up in the true spirit of the movie by doing that. I'm not. But that's just me. So,
Yeah.
but cooking and taking care of each other, and once again finding the joy and love in between the lines, but also showing up and putting in the work. Like, I think you can take this movie as just, I'm making great dishes, but you can take it as, I'm showing up for this person and this moment that I believe in, even though I'm ill and I'm sick and I'm distracted or something is weighing me, but I show up, because that's what has to be done. Had you watched this movie before?
I had not. It was similar to Perfect Days where
Yeah,
I wanted to see it. I heard the good things about it. Just end of 2023. Like you
right.
said, spoiler rich, just too many other movies, and this kind of slipped through the cracks. And I kind of forgotten about it, to be honest, until I saw this on the list. And I was like, oh, great, nice. I can finally have the time to watch Taste of Things. And I thought it was great, especially like the first like 15 minutes, like you were describing, where there's really nothing going on except them making the food, and you can taste it, you can smell it, the sounds. We
Oh,
talk about mise en scène a lot in this podcast. It's just about all the things kind of working together. This was an example of meals en scène, where I felt like I was in the kitchen. I felt like I could taste the food as they were putting every little thing in the dish. And I am not someone who cooks or really knows how to cook. I love eating a
right.
great meal, but what it was so cool about this first part is, I don't really think about like how the meal was prepared and the different ways they make things, and having to, cut this here and then I, do this, melt this thing and put the like. So it was fascinating for me to be like, oh, this is really cool, like about all the different ways, the different steps involved to get to then that final dish when they share it. So that was just educational, I guess, or fascinating to me. Thought that was really cool, and definitely the focus on food as art and an expression of what this chef and then the love that he feels for Juliette Binoche's character is expressed through the food. It is his art, and that is what he is expressing.
Hmm.
And when he, loses her, that kind of light goes out in him, and he can't make his art for a while anymore because she was his muse, she was his inspiration. She is a person and a chef and all those sort of things, but obviously it was the love that he had for her that was what kept him going there. And it also got me thinking too, just about food as just an art form, as it's the only like kind of art form you have to destroy every time. Like they make a meal, it
Hmm.
only lasts once, basically. And as to enjoy it, you have to destroy it. It's not like you look at a painting or watch a movie or listen
Right.
to it. You're literally getting rid of what this person just made. And I don't know, it's you kind of, but it's becoming a part of you. I was thinking about all these things and watching this in terms
Mm.
of what the art of cooking, which is something I super appreciate. I know I'm not good at it. I really enjoyed the film, especially again those scenes just there in the kitchen for 10 minutes and amazing.
I'm not great either. I mean, I like to cook, but
No,
I'm
you're good,
also not
man.
a.
You've cooked for me. You're good. Don't sell yourself short here. Come on.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But it's like an endless reservoir, right? Of sort of learning and getting better. It'll be like a lifelong thing. And I enjoy that. But I'm also not like a stress-free cook. When we're hosting like two people,
Yeah.
I'm like running amok, on my own volition. And I've had to be reminded by Robert, my partner, of like, this is for enjoyment. May I remind you? And they're like, oh yeah, right. I'm doing this for because I love this. Because I get so caught up in like, oh, what if I like mess this up? What if this goes wrong? And it was a reminder just watching this movie of just enjoying not just food and the preparation of it, but just also just life. And again, going back to the time is luck thing that you were saying earlier, like I think this movie starts with food, and that's obviously the obvious takeaway, but it ends up shining a bigger light on just being present and enjoying every moment you have, showing up for the people you love. And then in terms of just the actual preparation, like that first scene, I mean, I aspire to that. These two people and their helper person, they have such a shorthand that's not verbal. It's not even through sign language. It's nothing. It's just felt that they can prepare these meals with absolutely not a word said. What a thing to aspire to, in a lifetime. I'm not just even saying this about preparing food, but like anything of the work you do, the people you hang out with, that you have such chemistry and understanding and patience and love for them and with them, that you can just function like a well-oiled machine with a smile on your face, enjoying every moment of it. Like it was breathtaking. Just watch that. Can this even happen in life? And then I guess the other angle we should mention in the movie is of this little girl who walks in, who's kind of like a protege. And,
Yeah.
I love that angle. It's sort of a symbolism of the daughter or the child that they probably could have had, but also just recognizing great talent.
Mm-hmm.
And there's not jealousy here, neither between the two of them, nor between them and this little girl. Because sometimes a master, at least as we've seen and portrayed in film and television, that when like a new incumbent comes, it rattles them up. That would be a very different kind of movie. And I would
Right.
love a Salieri Mozart
Mm.
showdown. I'm totally down
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah.
But this is not that. And often that happens. And sometimes this happens where you want to nurture this person and make them be better. So I love how that kind of turn happens. And in a way, spoiler alert, Juliette Binoche's character dies in the movie, but her light is sort of carried forward through this little girl in a way. And then talk about mise-en-scène, how this movie is shot. I don't know if they shot this with natural light or no, but it feels like that. It had very like Barry Lyndon sort of
Definitely.
vibes in this little French cottage that they live in and cook in. And it's just so beautiful and transportive, and but not self-indulgent. A movie on food, chef's table, like we live in that world, right? Like,
Right.
okay, I'm going to spend 8 hours with this really celebrated, difficult, but master chef kind of person who's very particular, peculiar, but a pain in the ass, and cares about this direction of the smoke that comes when I lift the glass of this potato, and that I cultivated myself with like, blah, blah, blah. Go on, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm over that. And this movie, yes, it has elements of perfection and all of that, but it doesn't feel self indulgent to me. It actually feels simple. Like good art It doesn't have to be overly complicated. It can be simple to the point that when they're making or deciding to make a big menu for this rich guy who's showing up, he just decides to make like a very simple peasant dish,
Right. Right.
not a showdown showstopper with 20 courses, you know?
Hmm.
So this movie definitely did a number on me in many respects, and I can't wait to watch it again.
Yeah, yeah, me too. I think this is also a good kind of mood piece in a way too, like similar to a Miami Vice, where it just sort of is on in sort of the background and the periphery, and just those scenes of them cooking was like really
Yeah.
relaxing to me in a way of like all
Yeah.
I think a lot of it had to do with the lighting, like you said, warm light, the way the camera was moving around the kitchen too is just so well shot. And yeah, all the sounds and yeah, it's kind of fun, like the preparation of food, like that whole vibe and environment. I really liked what this movie captured there, and I would definitely want to watch this again too. Though I will watch it after I eat next time. I did not eat before I watched this. It was a giant mistake. I was like, oh
What
crap,
did you
like
eat after you watched it?
nah, unfortunately, it was leftover chicken from a meal that I made myself the night before. So at least it was a home cooked meal. I cook very rarely for
That's good
myself, so
at
I cooked the
least.
other night. So I'm like,
That's
oh,
good.
okay, well, this is not going to be anything like I just saw, unfortunately. But I can imagine, I guess, that I'm eating some incredibly prepared French peasant dish instead. It's just like very light, marinated chicken, basically.
That sounds pretty good, at least homemade, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. As much as yeah, I can say it was homemade. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I guess two other things to add. So Juliette Binoche and Benoit Magimel, like they were married. They have a daughter, but they're separated in real
Oh.
life now.
Oh, they were
And
married when they were making this. They were
no,
in.
way before, a long
Okay,
time
okay. So
ago.
they okay, okay, okay. Oh, okay.
But
I
they're
didn't
in
know
each
that.
other's lives because of the child they share, and but they've not acted since they separated together. So I think it's like a genius kind of stroke of casting, because you definitely feel this kind of otherworldly chemistry they have. And not all that doesn't always translate between real life to the screen, but here, as these characters, you definitely feel that
Yeah.
that lived in kind of relationship that they've had, and now this relationship is kind of moving to a different step. How she's been kind of reticent to getting married, or sort of being tied down in some way, even though she feels the love for him, but he's totally head over heels. And like you said, she's kind of amused to him as well. So yeah, it's a very lived in relationship that you see without much being said, even though grand gestures are made of love and what have you. So I just want to call that out. Like, it's just amazing chemistry between the two of them, but especially Juliette Binoche, who I think is one of my favorite actresses living of all time. She's in that pantheon.
Mm.
I mean, of course, she's delightful when she speaks and does something, but it's just all on her face. Like, you just see everything. Like, people give Isabelle Huppert that kind of mantle of she's amazing too, like the Meryl Streep
Yeah,
of
she's amazing.
France. I think actually Juliette Binoche is Meryl Streep. Francis Meryl Streep, sorry. Although that too. And it
Yeah.
was fun to see at this year's Cannes Film Festival, where Meryl was awarded with like a Lifetime Achievement Award. Juliette Binoche is the one who presented her and
Oh.
was completely in tears talking about her. And it was like a nice moment to see the two of them share stage.
Hi there, it's Alex. If you like the review and discussion Karan and I just had, make sure you subscribe to our channel, Movies That Shaped Us, to get full episodes. Every other Wednesday, Karan and I review a new release and then discuss 6 other movies made by that film's actor or director and how they shaped us. Subscribe right now or follow our podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts via the link in the description below. Hope you join us for the journey.